Hey guys, welcome back to the Purple Guinea Art Studio. My name is Sherry and I am an art encourager. No professional training here, no art classes, just straight from the heart. You know guys, I love to do things with the paint that's left over on the palette from students. So this is what we're working with today. Colors, colors everywhere, and this one as well. Paint lids. Or, well, this isn't a paint lid. It's paint on a lid, but it's an ice cream lid. It is from those buckets of ice cream. They make great palettes. But guys, these are the colors that we're going to be working with. And you can see that I've already coated one in the back here. And this is a mix of, guys, I have not even been at this 5 minutes. And it's already over me. I can't help it. I noticed some on my neck. It's like, I really get into my painting. Okay, so I have my water. This is acrylic. I have water. I have a little 3/4 inch brush that I'm going to put this background on with. And we are going to paint the epitome of summer. And it is a picture of lemonade. So we're going to do that today. I've already coated that canvas. And I'm going to demonstrate on another canvas, on a little canvas board. This is a stretched 9x12, but I'm going to demonstrate on another little canvas board how I did that. So I'm going to very gently say, hold on, because we're going in a little closer. One day I'll have this all figured out, guys. Okay, but then it wouldn't be near as much fun. Okay, so here we go. This brush is being dampened in my water and then touched to this paper towel. And I'm going in this magenta and this leftover medium red. And I'm just going to start, I'm going to hold this. And I am just going to start, see, I'm just kind of just dabbing it all in there. And the reason we're not going to overthink this background, because after the painting is done of the picture, you've seen it, I know, where you go around it then with another color, and the bright color that was on the background in the beginning, on the surface of your palette, on your canvas, is what will show around and the white. So it'll be kind of like a background. So there's just my rough background, and I stress rough. And I'm just putting it on there. I'm not really concerned about it. And it's more fun when you're not concerned about it. Isn't anything and everything more fun when you're not concerned about it? So I'm going to wipe off this brush. And if you wipe your brush off, get as much paint as you can off and squeeze it as you wipe. Then put it in your water to rinse it. First of all, it doesn't mess your water up so quickly, and you're not having to change water, and it's so much faster to get it clean. So now this is an olive green. So I'm going to get that olive green, and I'm going to put that on the bottom. And what happened with the other was that I mixed a little of that magenta in there, magenta and red, which makes it kind of a brown. And I am just brushing that on. Whoops. These canvas boards, guys, when you buy your canvas boards, I would suggest that you not get the ones at the Dollar Tree, and do not get the canvases at the Dollar Tree. They're fine for the kids if you feel like it's not going to be a keeper, but you never know when it's going to be the most fabulous thing that you ever painted. And those that you get there are not acid free, and they're also not archival, and they're just not as good a quality, and they would, I'm sure, warp over time. Go ahead and put it's worth your while to go to Hobby Lobby or Michael's and get your canvas boards. Okay, so there's that. And I went up, I divided this, let's say I divided it into thirds. So a third is going to be my base. And if you're really conscientious about straight, perfect lines, use your T-square. And I would be using mine on this one, but I cannot find it. It's in here in the studio somewhere. So there is your background. But put your money in some good canvases, you know. Read on those canvases. And these little boards, they are fine. They are just fine. They're gessoed, and I usually gesso over them again before I start anything. And these will pop into a frame that you can buy off of shelf. So that's another reason for these little boards. That's good. Now, I'm going to wipe this brush off and rinse. And once again, we're using what's left on this palette. So here, now I'm going to bring over the one we're going to use today. And I'm going to be sketching out with chalk. Let's get this where you guys can see it better. Okay, and this is our inspiration. This was a photograph that I found, and I printed the photograph out. Now, when you print a photograph out like this, it's just a suggestion. You know, that is just an inspiration. There are no rule followers here, I hope, because I am certainly not one. And there's no right and wrong way in art. I do suggest drawing with chalk, sketching your sketch out with chalk, and that way it not only does it disappear in the paint, whether it's acrylic, watercolor, or oils, it'll just disappear into the paint. But if you don't love it, you can erase it with a little bit of water on a paper towel. Now this canvas is one that's been painted over. So as a matter of fact, I had painted a picture on it the other day, and I wasn't real happy with the way it turned out. So I thought, I'll just do that again. So here we're going to do our picture. Now, when you're deciding where to put your focus, you can put it to the side, you can put it to the center. That's totally your preference. I am not a big center person, so but if you do want to do things in the center, I suggest putting a little dot there in the center of your canvas. And this is how I teach my students. Then at the top, put a little dot just in case you're going to frame it, because you don't want to get above that area, and one at the side, at the bottom and the sides. And that just kind of tells you, I don't want to do anything that's going to crowd that frame if I decide to put this in a frame. Who knows, it could be a very frameable piece. And also, these days, it's quite fashionable and decorative just to prop it on a shelf or put it on an easel. So this picture here is a long, narrow picture. So I'm going to start at the top with that oval, that long oval. And I'm kind of drawing from the sides, so from time to time, I may have to get up in your business to see where I'm going. So there's my oval. And it's kind of shaped a little rounder. You can see the roundness there. And then there's going to have a little tip come out, and I'm going to do a little tiny smiley face and a little bit of a frown, and that's where my little spout's going to be. Now watch this, how easy it is to just get rid of that I don't want there. And that's the beauty of the chalk. So there's my spout. We're going to sketch this by using shapes, and then after the shapes, we're going to paint it by seeing color. Okay. And nothing is written in stone, as they say. So you can step back, and if you don't love it, erase it. So I'm just going to come down now about the width of my hand. Just two little, this is making my neck. And I'm going to think a round bowl. So I'm going to go ahead and start two parentheses. And also, if you're doing something like this and you print it out, cut the shape of that out if you want to, and just lay it on here and trace around it. That is fine. That is fine. No rules. But it's easy to sketch. And there's the base of my lemon pitcher. Now I'm going to attach this and attach this side. So there's my pitcher. Let's see. I think we're doing okay. I do want to bring this up a little more. Make that a little rounder. Now I'm going to do this handle. And the handles doesn't go all the way to the top, and that's fine. But mine's going to be a little wider than this one. A little higher. But you see here, well, you can't see my hand, but the top of that handle comes back like this to the very tip. And the handle, just think question mark. Question mark. And you can even put a little bit off, a question mark. And then the handle is going to come underneath, and it's going to disappear. Then the underside of that handle is going to reappear, and it will be a different color as well. So there is our picture. Now, this, I've got a foot underneath it. That's what it's called, the base of that picture is, it has a foot on it where it sits flat. So there that is, and I'm liking that. So now, and I like the fact that I can see part of the table or the surface which it's sitting on. I like the fact that I can see that. So I'm going to draw the lemonade. Now let's think, if the shape of this is round, this is going to be round too. It's going to mimic it. So I'm going to make a skinny oval once again, and that's going to be my lemonade. That's my lemonade, the top right there, the liquid. Now when I paint this, I'm not going to go all the way over here with that lemonade because of my glass. I want to show some thickness on my glass. There's the lemonade. So then I would come in and put my little lemons. But for now, we're ready to paint. So I'm hoping on this, now that I think about it, I'm hoping I've got colors that I need to make this lemonade. Okay, I'm going to be using today, and I should have told you this as well sooner. This is an angular 3/4 that I'll use to go around the edges of, that I could use to put my paint on the back. But I'm going to use it, and I'm going to edge around when I put that contrasting color on there. And I'm going to, I have a little number 9 round. This is one of my students' brushes, but it's right here. So I don't want you to, some of these brushes I use are expensive, and I will allude to that. But these that I'm showing you are not expensive. This is a number 9. Or actually, it's a number 6. I have an issue with transposing numbers. And then, guys, we're going to go ahead and use that. I'm going to dampen it. Then I'm going to just dry it a little bit on my towel to get that water off. When you're using acrylics, if you will dampen your brush, it really, really helps to absorb that paint. So now I'm looking at this, and I'm just going to start painting colors that I see. Now, I'm not going to see the brown color here because behind ours is pink. And I know you're just seeing just a little bit of that. Let me see if I can do this a little bit. Okay. Now, so I'm getting into my white. And I see my white is dried on this board. So I'm so glad that I have my handy dandy tube of titanium professional thick acrylic from Master's Touch. All of these paints I'm using today are from Master's Touch, by the way, which is a Hobby Lobby paint. So now I'm just going to paint anywhere I see white. I'm going to paint white on that picture. And I'm just barely putting it on there. And that is okay too, because you want to just barely do it. Okay, there's a little white. And this, it's going to be white to show the clearness. And that's the edge of that right there. But the white is reflecting off, it's reflecting because it's clear. So it's going to reflect what it's around too. So we're going to have to add a little pink here and there in that to make it a little rosy. Because that, our reflections are going to be slightly different because of our background. So now I'm just kind of putting in wherever I see a reflection. And I'm jumping back and forth in the color. There's a little lighter in that background. There we go. I'm going to do it like that because I'm not loving how that spout is turning out. You know, guys, it's only paint, right? So I am doing a little bit of where you see that through, but I'm just kind of kissing it as I go. So I also see a beautiful, looks like a purple in there. Let me get some of this blue. And this, it looks like it was cerulean blue. So I'm going to get a little bit of that purple, and I'm going to start putting where I see a little purple under that spout. Oh yeah, there's a little bit of purple right there. And then there's some over here. A little bit of purple. This is going to be quite colorful. You think painting clear, you think, clear. But clear is anything but clear. And guys, once you train yourself to see the different colors and things and the different shapes, you can do anything that you want to. It makes your artistic ability just flourish. Okay, I'm going to jump back in that white. I see a little white right here and a little bit purple right there. We're not thinking, we're just doing. Now under that handle, there's a long little place of purple. And here on the outside, carrying over from this, is a lighter shade that comes all the way to that bottom. Now it even has a little yellow in there because it's getting that yellow from that lemonade inside. So I'm putting just a little hint of yellow. This is going to be very colorful. Okay, so now I see a little more here. On this outside, I see a bright edge, and you notice I have not washed this brush, and you see how it's blending with that chalk. Haven't washed my brush because I don't care if the other colors are mixing in there. I'm liking that. It's an abstract kind of thing. Okay, so now there's our picture, and I need a little purple in there. So there's our picture. Now it is time for this lemonade. So I'm going to, I forgot to wipe off before I rinse. I'm going to rinse, and I'm going to get, this looks like a cadmium yellow, and I need just a touch of a little bit of brown. But if I don't have brown, I'll just do a touch of orange in that cadmium, and I'm going to lay in the top of this lemonade. Now this would be very interesting wet on wet. You would have all kinds of different things happening in there. I'm gonna, as I'm going, I'm going to add just a little bit of lighter. Now I've mixed an orange with that cadmium, and I'll have a little light, and I'll just go back and forth, a little light, a little darkness. I'm going to kind of sketch these lemons in. They're floating on the top. It's 4, oh my goodness. I've got to have either 3 or 5. I don't want to have 4. I tell you what, I'll just make 3 larger lemons. How about that? 1, 2, 3. I have a thing about wanting things to be in odd numbers. So now I'm going to just go around. And I'm not even concerned about covering all that pink because, you know, I kind of like that, the wackiness of that. Now, here's the white around the edge of the lemons. And like I say, this is an abstract, so I'm not freaking out over that not being perfect. Now I'm going to just take this brush, and I'm doing little teardrops to make those lemon shapes, those little sections. And you see I'm just touching it making a little pinwheel. I might want that one larger. Little pinwheel. And that's the inside of my lemons. Well, isn't that cute? Now I'll just do a little yellow, just a little bit of that, touch that cadmium, I cannot talk, cadmium yellow. And I'm just going back in there and just doing a little kiss on that, and I'll go back with that white. Guys, when you're drawing a lemon wedge like this, or a lemon slice rather, it's going to be kind of more oval than round because you're the way the perspective is, okay? So trust me on that one. Now I'm just going to go in and put a little highlight on top of this lemon-looking water. Now, for the fun part, underneath, you're still going to have a little bit of shading. So I'm mixing that orange with cadmium yellow, and I'm going to go right in here, and I'm leaving that little bit of pink showing. So I'm liking that. And that is nothing like what's on the vase, the picture. But isn't it fun? And I'm not going quite to the edges because I want some of that glass to show through. Isn't it fun when you can do things? This, you know, you can make your own rules when you're painting like this. It's freeing and it's loose, guys. And it has been really difficult for me, but to be looser in my painting. But it's been a fun process, and it's one that I decided to do. I didn't decide, you know, I didn't follow any rules. I just decided, let's just do this. Now, since this is where my light's shining the most on this side right here, which I'm not sure if it'll be your left or my right, how that will turn out, but I'm painting with my right hand. So on my side, it's the right side. So I'm going to put a little brightness right there in that lemonade. Just a little brightness, and that gives you a little bit of roundness. Let's see how we're doing. Oh my goodness, this is cute. Let's see. Little bit of right there. Just kind of helter-skelter it, guys, because you're going to have a little reflection on that glass. Now, if this is dry enough, there's a little bit of purple that's going to come right through there. And that worked out. And a little bit of golden color there. This will be interesting when when I wipe all this chalk off too, which after it dries, guys, I just get a damp paper towel, and if I see any chalk, I just wash, you know, I just wipe it off. Okay, so now we've got to outline the rest of this picture, and now the bottom, you know, is gonna, it's clear, but it's going to be a little darker down there. And that was, I didn't wash my brush. So you see, it just automatically added its own little highlight down there. But right where that precious little picture is sitting is going to be a little darkness right there. Now there's also a shadow. We're going to have to think about some shading or shadow. And I am going to, I'm just using whatever's on this brush. My light's coming from over here. And I'm just going to make a little bit of shading, shadowy, kind of almost shaped like, see, I'm not even thinking about it because it's going to be light reflecting out of that. And it's not going to be like a for real shadow. So I am just doing kind of, I don't know, swirly twirlies. Don't you love, don't you love my terminology? Oh, mercy. Okay, if I had have had an art teacher, she would be wincing at some of the things I say, some of my terms. Okay, I'm going up under this lip, guys. Has a little darkness right there, and it has a little bit right there that vanishes. in and a little bit there. This is, and I still have not washed this brush. Still have not. We're still just going with whatever's going to happen on this brush. And this that I'm using right now is kind of, it's what was left kind of in that purpley that got a little bit of yellow in it. But I want you to use what's left on your palette. So this, see, this will be just whatever, I mean, yours will be a totally different color. Okay, and I do love it, guys, when you post in the comments how yours turned out. Okay, so feel free to do that. Okay, so now I think for safety purposes, I will rinse because I'm going to go around the edge of that lemonade. Because it had a little bit of an edge. And then where I went over that light purple, I'm going to come back and put a little highlight there, just on a little bit. Now, there's other little bits, and I'm just barely kissing here and there, and following the shape of that tea pitcher. Okay. Now, I think I'm going to do a little more, cover up a little more of this in here. Even though it doesn't look like that, I want it to have a little more contrast than what is showing. There we go. I'm wiping this off, and I'm just dipping it in that where I need to come back and fix that little spout a little bit. When I was doing things on my Facebook page, I would come back and finish the product and then show you guys. But I'm trying to YouTube it instead of Facebook. Okay, so now I'm going to rinse. There is our pitcher of lemonade. And guys, I'm going to suggest to you that when you get your pitcher of lemonade done, that you go around the edges with a contrasting color. But don't be afraid to do your own pitcher of lemonade. I've got to lean way back because my thing is just, now it's broken. I'm afraid I'm going to break off. Guys, paint your pitcher of lemonade. Get something really wild, like I'm using this, this is a deep phthalo green. And for instance, I'm loading this brush up with phthalo and white, and I'm going to go around the edges of this picture and just look how that's going to look. How many minutes have we been on here? 28 minutes. I'm going to give you 30 minutes because I'm trying not to do any video that's more than 30 minutes, and I am just going to show you how great this is going to be. Now I'm going to, I'm in that phthalo green and titanium white with that angler brush, and I'm just having a party right here. Having a party. And if I get it a little more in white than I did the previous time, I'm not being concerned about that either, because this is all an abstract. Phthalo and titanium white with this angular brush, guys, help me. Angular brush, you can really get up in the little nooks and crannies. Look how that's making that pop. Okay, now I'm thinking on the bottom, what to do on the bottom. And even put a little bit in there. Little bit in that spout. Guys, that's turning out pretty good. Okay, so here, I'm just going to put it a little here. Oh, that made it dark. A little here and there, because I don't want it to mess up my reflections. Like I say, this is abstract, so we're just playing, okay? Don't be afraid to play. Then I'm going to get this purple and come down here a little bit and get some of that titanium white. This is my bright side. Keep it on the bright side. And if you don't want to be this abstract, stop where we were, you know, but here it goes. And next to anything, ooh, it's going to be a little darker. Guys, this is pretty cool right here. And you see, I didn't do anything. I totally messed up where I had that shadow, but that's okay too. Okay. I'll put a little more white on this side. A little more shading right there. Oh, yeah. Watch this. Dropping the brush. Guys, keep in mind, it's only paint. Have fun with it. But most importantly, we are all just walking one another home. I love you guys. See you soon. This is saying bye-bye from the Purple Guinea Art Studio. Share me with your friends.